this video is really for those conscious, connected mamas who are really wanting to walk a path of gentle discipline, and who probably are and have been for a while. And with that journey comes the piece around boundaries. And specifically that when we embark on this gentle parenting journey, it is a journey, and there's a piece of it at the beginning that often requires us to let go of boundaries, let go of boundaries, let go of these the arbitrary boundaries, the societal boundaries that are just dictated, the lines in the sand that would just say children should never do this, and children should be seen but not heard, and children should blah blah, all these different rules and requirements, and we start letting all those go.
The ones that assume that adults know best for children and that we should control them. Yeah.
And around that same time, when our babies are very young, so even probably earlier than we go through that discussion internally with ourselves, we also had a whole bit of a culture shock. Often for most of us, we let go of a lot of physical boundaries. Our children, our babies would be nursing on cue or on demand, and we would be co-sleeping, and we would be really touched out. Like our physical personal space boundaries also had a massive shift and a reorientation. And so there's a big journey around boundaries. And then for a lot of mamas, there comes a time, you know, at 2 or 3, often it starts, sometimes 4, you know, where these mothers, and we've all had this journey, Kara and I have had this journey too, it's like, how do we reclaim ourselves and our own boundaries, healthy boundaries, and how do we reclaim our space in the relationship and our needs and our wants when we've let go of so much of the boundary piece? Because boundaries in our mind is such a negative connotation and a word that, you know, ooh, no, we can't go there.
Yeah, so we have created a whole other term that describes boundaries from a totally different perspective. So they're not those arbitrary lines in the sand that are created out of context or read from a book about this is what you should do in that situation. And they're also not consistent as a rule, like, oh, I have to be consistent about this is
bedtime.
This is our bedtime routine, and this is the time we go to bed, and that's the boundary we set because we need to keep control of boundaries or everything will fall apart and it will all turn to chaos. Like, there is truth in that often when mothers reject boundaries, we do feel a bit out of control, like we've lost our sense of control of what we need. So we've looked, it's kind of like it's a whole other way of looking at boundaries. It's kind of a middle ground, and we're calling it edges.
So instead of boundaries, which you've probably rejected, how do you reclaim yourself in the relationship? And the answer is your edges.
So the reason we're bringing edges up on the topic of mothers who have rejected traditional boundaries is because it's so common to get to a point where it kind of turns a bit into permissive parenting, like feeling like I need to say yes because I need to really, really honour what my children are needing and what my children's desires are, to the point where I've lost connection with what I'm needing around the same thing. And for example, for me, I remember getting to this point where I really did not know what I needed in a situation until I'd lost it and realised I totally couldn't cope with what I'd said yes to, because I had this kind of belief that I would be like depriving or dishonouring my children if I stopped them from doing something, and I got so blurred with all those lines and so disconnected from my own edge that I really didn't know what I needed. I had to get way out past my edge and then lose it and have a meltdown before I could know what I needed. So there's so much value in connecting with where your edge is and really getting to know it.
So I think every mother has done that. I have absolutely realised many times that I am operating way outside of my edge and too far after the fact. And it's always come from this desire, this willingness to go there for our children. You know, it comes from...
I'll do anything.
Yeah, it comes from the best place. But when it's too much and too far, you lose connection with yourself, and typically you create disconnection because you lose the plot somewhere along the line, and it gets messy and you yell and you scream, or you just can't cope, or you get overwhelmed, or whatever it is. It creates that disconnection. So understanding your edge and honouring your edge is ultimately about maintaining connection in your relationship. It's a responsibility as a mother to know what you can hold and stay in that connected space. And for most of us watching this video, for some mothers it's about letting go. It's about widening a little bit and not being so tight. But I would guess for most of the mothers watching this video and watching our stuff, it's the opposite. You're way outside of your edge from that desire to so go there, to be so free and open and let our children be that unique individual that they need to be, that you end up so far past your edge. Okay, so your edge. Your edge, if you imagine it as a ring around you, your edge is the space where if you go out past that, you're going to start to feel disconnected. Disconnected from your values, disconnected from your children. You'll start to feel...
Disconnected from yourself.
Yeah, you'll start to feel more and more out of control, out of your comfort zone, out of what you feel like you can capably stay in that connected conscious space. Okay, so the further you go out, or the longer you stay out way past your edge, the more likely it is for you to lose your cool, to feel out of control, for you to be kind of more sporadic in your emotional outbursts. That's all too far out past your edge. So you have a ring around you where your edge is. Inside of here is where you feel in control and you feel safe, and you feel like this is safely where you can stay connected and loving and gentle and conscious and aware. And this edge that you have, this ring around you, is not a static ring. It changes. Sometimes you're feeling really like you're topped up. I've got lots of reserves. My ring is way out here. Sometimes I'm so sleep deprived, I'm depleted, I'm overwhelmed. It's right in here where my edge, where I can cope. And it's really important that you learn that awareness of where your edge is in the moment.
Around the specific request or dynamic that's going on.
Absolutely. And so the one piece here is you need to start to become aware of where your edge is. And one of the most important pieces of advice that we could give you in this short video around that is ask your children to give you space. When they make a request of you, my children know that if I say, okay, I will sit with that, give me some space, that the best thing they can do is walk away and come back later around that. And that's for me to tune in. If I feel really rushed and pushed, depending on which way you fly, you're likely to make the wrong call about where you can sit with your edge if you're trying to do it really quickly in response. Ask for space. It doesn't have to be a lot of space, and even young children can, just say, I just want to sit with that for a moment, just space, or I'm just going to go to the toilet, and when I come back I'll know, or whatever you feel like you need to say. Allow yourself to feel, well, where is my edge around that? Just be aware of it. So when you know where your edge is, in the moment, you have two choices. You can honor your edge and stay within it, or you can consciously choose to work outside of your edge. And there's different processes and different ways to go about each one, but at this point it's conscious choice that you want to understand. Am I going to consciously work outside of my edge? And if you are going to work outside of your edge in a conscious way, understand that that's what you're doing. And even just that awareness that you're consciously outside of your edge here will allow you to be more patient with yourself. for me, it creates a switch in me to go, okay, I need to be conscious because I'm a bit outside of my edge here. I need to speak from the I a lot. I need to check in with myself a lot. And I need to communicate clearly. And for many of the occasions, if I'm going to choose to work outside of my edge, if I know my edge is here and my children are asking me to go to there, if I don't feel I can get all the way to there, I can negotiate. There's a big space in between here. It's like, I don't know if I can get all the way to there. Can we come to an agreement that we can go to there? And so putting that into like a real world situation, it might be, I don't know if I can handle all that you want to do in this day, but I could definitely manage to go to the pool for an hour and then to the library on the way home. But I don't know if I could swing the park as well. That might push me too far past what I could cope with.
And just to backtrack on that a little bit, it's really valuable to talk to your children about that and about the fact that you have edges and the consequences of ignoring them. So they're really aware of, so right now what we're working on is what mum can cope with and where her edge is, and they understand why that's important for the whole relationship.
Yeah. In my experience, children have amazing empathy if you communicate what's going on for you. If I say, I'm really tired, I don't know if I can really handle that. I think that I won't be able to keep my cool. I'm worried I'll get overwhelmed. I'm worried that I'll lose my temper and yell, and then it will be a crappy experience for all of us. If I can say that to my children, they go, okay, I get that, Mum. And they'll negotiate. Absolutely, they'll negotiate. If I had no clear understanding of where my edge was, I would be internally going, oh, it feels big, but I feel like I really need to do it. They so want to do this. I really want to make this happen for them. And then I go there, and then...
And then also it creates resentment. Like it doesn't serve the connection to give without listening to ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's another piece... and we might do some more videos on edges. If you guys want more of our information on edges, because we're skimming the surface of so many pieces in this, let us know. Leave a comment below the video or email us, whatever you need to do. And we'll go into a lot of depth on honouring, how do you honour your edge and not like upset your children and create resentment? How do you work outside of your edge consciously? All those pieces. But one piece that Kaya touched on is resentment. And so when you're consciously choosing to work outside of your edge, tune into yourself all the time. What am I feeling? What am I feeling? Is there what we call submerged conflict going on? Am I really resenting this? Am I gritting my teeth through the whole experience going, oh great, why did I say yes? Why did I say yes? This sucks. You know, that sort of thing. Because that is not, if you can't work through that, then you need to renegotiate again, because you're probably...
It will come up.
Yeah.
It'll explode.
It will explode. You're going to lose your cool at some point in that situation. So that was a skimming of a lot of the edges work that we do. And if you want us to go into detail, let us know and we'll go into the specifics. But for now, what you want to take away from this video is, if you have rejected strong rules, lines in the sand, arbitrary boundaries, and yet you're feeling like, where do I fit in my relationship? How do I reclaim me and what I need? And how does that get communicated? Then we encourage you to try edges, that concept of edges, and checking in the moment, where is my edge? And remember that outside of your edge is, the further you go, more overwhelm, more chaos, more not willing to cope, more likely to lose my cool and yell and scream. That's past your edge. Inside your edge is really, really, really safe, and you feel totally in control. So you want to gauge where that edge is. Okay, and you may want to stretch your edges, you may want to shrink your edges. Your edge will shrink and grow and expand and contract moment to moment. All of that is irrelevant. What is important right now in this first piece is, where is your edge? And from there you can make conscious choice.
Yeah, give it a go. Tune into your edge. That's just the biggest first step, is actually realising you have an edge, connecting with it. From there, a lot of the other stuff flows, but for a lot of mothers, we don't even connect with it at all. So give that a go and let us know how you went. Till next time, goodbye.
I've silenced you. Is there anything else you want to say?
Sorry, my leg went numb. That feels like a good ending.
Yeah.